Hello everybody and welcome back. The brisk morning air has dissipated and been dispersed by the French morning sun, and that can only mean one thing. Welcome back to Paul Ricard in Le Castellet, the south of France, and welcome back to the Clio Cup Series. Qualifying 2 getting underway at the moment. The 20-minute qualifying session to set the grid for race 2 later on this afternoon. If you missed qualifying 1 and more importantly race 1 yesterday, you are really missing out. I really do urge you to go and watch those back at the end of this qualifying session. What an advertisement for the Clio Cup Series. We saw Jerzy Spinkovic take the win after qualifying on the front row of the grid. He started in second place and spent a lot of the race floating around in sort of third and fourth place as David Pouget and championship rival Nicolas Melin were fighting over the lead. We saw the lead change a couple of times on the last lap. Eventually the pair came together on the exit of the final corner. Jerzy Spinkovic, ever the optimist, dived up the inside and managed to get to the line first. David Pouget was demoted right the way down to third as his teammate that we saw him working with in qualifying yesterday, and we can already see him working with in qualifying today, ended up finishing in second place. Car number 91, that there, Luca Franca, he had a busy old race yesterday. What happened down at turn 5 for him? So the car went in and the rear axle just couldn't quite find the grip that I think Luca was expecting, meaning he found himself pointing the wrong way. Nicolas Melin eventually had to settle for fourth place after fighting so hard just to get to the lead of the race. And Adrian Schimpf won the Challengers Cup and finished 5th overall, a good result from Adrian Schimpf. But of course, we've not only got the sort of Clio Cup series here, we've got their relative regions. So we've got Clio Cup France, Clio Cup Italy, and Clio Cup Spain all here this weekend. So they can score points in their respective regions. It is not a Clio Cup Europe round, but here at Paul Ricard for the Motorsport Festival, this is 4 rounds from the end. In a week's time, we go to Zandvoort, and that is Clio Cup Mid-Europe and Clio Cup Europe itself. In sort of 2 weeks after that, we go to Imola for the ACI GT weekend on October the 28th and 29th. I will be joining you there. And the season is ended at Barcelona, where it is Clio Cup Europe, Clio Cup France and Clio Cup Spain on November the 11th and November the 12th, of which I'll be joining you for that one as well. So there's still plenty of time for drivers just to get those extra few points that they may need to take the championship. And more importantly, David Pouget this weekend, whether it's still mathematically possible, could potentially become the Clio Cup France champion. I don't believe with Nicolas Melin's good finish yesterday in 4th place and David Pouget finishing in 3rd, whether it is still mathematically possible. Of course, that will then just have to roll on to Barcelona, the final Clio Cup France round of the season. No representative times completed as of yet. The drivers out on circuit currently heading on to their first competitive lap time. In terms of qualifying positions yesterday, somebody we need to keep an eye on, Stefan Polderman, car number 21. He qualified in 14th place, but presumably due to track limits, had a grid drop of 10 places, so he had to start right the way down in 24th place. He managed to carve his way up to 17th in yesterday's race. So not too bad at all, especially in the Racers' Cup, because that meant he finished 4th in the Racers' Cup. So he had a bit of work to do, but eventually Stefan Polderman did manage to find the time that he required to carve his way up the order. That can only be good momentum carried in to the second day this weekend. And of course, we've got other drivers to keep an eye out for. Alex Al-Bouhi, he's been quick all weekend. A bit more pace to unlock, I think. However, in qualifying 2, 4 minutes have elapsed, 15 minutes just over remaining. And who else do we keep an eye out for? Florian Venturi. Yesterday, he ended up qualifying in what I believe was it was 19th place Florian qualified in. I think it was classified as 20th, but with Stefan Polderman being dropped down the order, it meant that he picked up a place. Florian Venturi still with a bit of time to find. The ex-Euro NASCAR driver. Jacopo Giuseppe Ximenez, again, didn't take part in qualifying yesterday, so he had to start from the very, very tail end of the order. He started right the way down in 43rd place, and where did he finish? 20th. So Jacopo Giuseppe Ximenez, he's got a bit of work to do again, but it's good to see that he's got those places and got that pace in hand. 23 places gained. We did see 3 retirements yesterday: Sandro Cottini, Rafael Quadraro and Gael Rostand. Unfortunately, played no further part in the race as of a couple of laps in. Gael Rostand retiring only 2 laps into the race, unfortunately, so had a lot of work to do. What happened here with the 372 machine? That is Andrea Chiocchetti for MC Mototecnica. The man from Italy is looking to unlock the pace. David Pouget taking a wide line into what is turn 14. Going into the pit lane is David Pouget. So too is everybody else. So have they gone out just to put some temperature into the tyres, into the brakes, and then are they going to swap the front tyres to the rear and the rears to the front, just so then they can put some very, very hot tyres on the rear, keep the car nice and planted? With 14 minutes of the session remaining, it is quite a risky call. However, the first couple of drivers crossing the line now to set representative times. The fastest of them all at the moment is Adam Sasha, car number 95, with a 2 minute 31.747. I'd imagine he's towards the tail end of that little pack. There is the number 24 of Aurélien Ranet. He was there or thereabouts yesterday, it was Aurélien. He ended up finishing 6th overall, 2nd in the Challengers Cup. And it was 4th in Clio Cup France, so he had a bit of work to do, and you could see big lockups on the cold asphalt heading in towards turns 3 and 4. We saw a big lockup from Alex Al-Bouhi very early on in the race, and whether that flat spotted his tyre, I don't know, but it was just a mist of fog. Heading through turn 6 and on to turn 7 along the straight, we are seeing Jerzy Spinkovic with those brake lights flashing away. We could see them very easily last night in the nighttime conditions. And there is the massive inside rear lockup from the number 24 of Aurélien Ranet. So we had a bit of a moment there heading in, still locking brakes as he's working his way not only between turns 3 and 4, but almost setting up for turn 5. And whilst it doesn't look that difficult, as these Clio Cup cars are so stiffly sprung, it means that the inside rear wheel on a lot of the corners tends to lift off the ground, and you see the cars spending a lot of their time on 3 wheels. Yesterday, we did see a lot of time spent on 2 wheels as well. So you can see in the rear view, or in the rear window of the number 95, Adam Sasha, current provisional pole sitter, or he was, as Alex Lancelotti has gone through with a 2 minute 31.096 and has put his car on provisional pole position. So the rear window of Adam Sasha's car, you can see the little green circle with the C inside. That means he is one of the Challengers Cup drivers. And just up the road is the 133 of Samuel Chalin for T2CM. He has got the orange circle with the R in it. That means he is a Racers Cup entrant. But Alex Lancelotti has firmly asserted himself on provisional pole position by 6.5 tenths of a second. Whereabouts is David Pouget? He is currently on an outlap. So too is Alexander Al-Bouhi. We've got a bit of a moment there for 1-2-2. That is Ludovico Longini. And will he get going again? Yes, he will. So Ludovico will be able to continue without too much of an issue. It just has to find a bit of clear track. That looks like it's at turn 11. We've also had a lap time deleted. That is for car number 30. So Alex Lancelotti has had a lap time deleted. Here is the replay, a big old moment on the exit of turn 10. It carried all the way on to turn 11. Whether he just got a bit confident on the curbs and he'd unsettled the car, and you'll just see him arrive backwards in the background there. So Alex Lancelotti with a bit more temperature than I'm sure he wanted in those rear tyres. Now across the line comes the main pack. Do we see improvements? Yes, we do. Luca Franca, provisional pole sitter now, 2 minute 30.759, so 3.5 tenths clear of Alex Lancelotti. In second place, Giacomo Trebi finds himself a big lockup as well. That's for the 118 machine. So Francesco Pagani Francesco with, I'm sure, a very square rear tyre now. So Pagano, pardon me, has, I suppose, got to reassert himself and reapply his concentrations elsewhere, maybe onto the braking. Somebody very wide there, potentially setting themselves up on towards the straight. Car number 22, Lydia Samper. We saw a big old moment for her yesterday, working her way through turn 11. Ended up almost spinning backwards into another car. It was Samuel Chalin at the time, so I think Samuel did a very good job of some very last-minute avoidance in the dark. Florian Cohuble on provisional pole position now by 1.2 seconds, a 2-minute 29.562. So Florian doing very well indeed, and has asserted himself on pole position well and truly behind the wheel of that number 2 machine for GM Sport. One of the Challengers drivers as well. If you are new to the Clio Cup series, obviously we mentioned how the various national series work and how Clio Cup Europe works as well. But of course we do have the races and the Challengers Cup. The Racers Cup is for drivers over 26 years old with less than 10 meetings experience in motorsport, or having never achieved a better result in a race than 5th in the overall rankings. Or the Challengers Cup is for drivers anywhere between 16 and 25 on the 1st of January this year, or drivers over 26 but they have a minimum of 10 Clio Cup meetings experience. That is a moment there for the number 66 machine, Alejandro Romero, one of the Spanish drivers we have out this weekend for Team VRT. And that looks like it's going through the chicane, turns 8 and 9 on the back straight. Whether he just grabbed a bit of curb, yes it is. You can see in the background the drivers jink left to the right of our screen, and they bounce over the curbs. I was watching the Alpines prior, somebody in the background, I think that was Guillaume Mayo, with a big old moment. So what happened, was it an inside rear lockup? He just wasn't going to get it slowed down. The car behind did make the corner, but the number 19 machine, this is going straight on. So Gian Alberto Coldani really just couldn't get that car slowed down. Very wide, back onto 2 wheels. We're seeing it today. Alex Lancelotti, previous provisional pole sitter, pushing very, very hard for that time. So here is the moment for the number 66 machine. Yes, a very big rear lockup for Alejandro Romero. Arrives backwards. Does he avoid the cone? Just about. And locks up those front wheels. Hopefully the Michelin tyre isn't flat spotted to such an extent we won't see any improvements from Alex Lancelotti. Now we're seeing even more competitive times posted, having returned from the pit lane. Alex Albouy now on provisional pole position with a 2-minute 29.479 by only 9 thousandths of a second over his GPA Racing teammate David Pouget with a 2-minute 29.488. In the background you can see there Gael Rostand going for a bit of a moment as well. That looks like it's heading on the exit of turn 2 potentially. He's grabbed a bit too much curb. So David Pouget missing out on provisional pole by 9 thousandths. A further 67 thousandths back is Adrian Schimpf with a 2-minute 29.546. Florian Cohuble 83 thousandths away, or he was. He has now gone on to provisional pole with a 2-minute 29.436. Or he had. Alex Lancelotti now onto provisional pole with a 2-minute 29.089. So over 3 tenths clear now is Alex Lancelotti, with personal fastest Sector 1, Sector 2 and an overall fastest Sector 3. He's really starting to unlock that pace. The top 4 separated by only 4 tenths of a second, and the top 10 separated by only a second on what is a very long circuit here at Paul Ricard, 5.8 kilometres. So to be separated by only a second over the entire lap is very, very impressive indeed. All of the drivers, we mentioned it earlier on, all of the drivers run a Michelin Pilot Sport Cup TH1. They of course have the hard compound or the rain compound, no sort of intermediate or softer compound. It is hard or rain. But Alex Lancelotti, what a lap. There is the number 2 of Florian Cohuble. He's just working his way towards the chicane on the back straight. He is being chased down and potentially giving the draft assistance to Guillaume Mayo in the background. In towards turn 8 they go, bouncing over the curbs, a bit more 2-wheel action. The inside rear wheel lifting off the ground as the car is just struggling away for grip. Heading back onto the straight on the run up towards turn 10. We may see further improvements. 6.5 minutes of the session remaining. Guillaume Mayo, the man that we're watching at the moment following Florian Cohuble, is down into 8th place at the moment. Some good improvements last time through. One of those was from the, I'm trying to pick out exactly who that is, the number 30 machine, Alex Lancelotti. He has closed that provisional pole gap. However, there's been big improvements. Alex Ancelotti is dropped down to 6th place. David Pouget on provisional pole position at 2 minute 28.579, 1/10 clear of Adrian Schimpf in the 113 machine. Currently the fastest of the Challengers Cup drivers. Luca Franca, the fastest of the Racers Cup driver, just sat behind in provisional P3 with a 2 minute 28.843. Only a quarter of a second away. Nicolas Milin, a good improvement up to provisional P4 with a 2 minute 28.933. Now, no longer the top 10 separated by a second, only the top 9 separated by a second. Jerzy Spinkovic has worked his way within a second of the provisional pole time, a 2:29.609 for Jerzy, yesterday's race 1 winner. Working their way through the little sort of complex down to turns 3, 4, 5, 6 and almost 7, heading onto the straight once again. There you can see David Pouget breaking his way through the mist, through the heat haze, and then down towards the chicane. You can see the Schimpf brothers working away. Adrian Schimpf was the first of those to appear. Alejandro Schimpf just sat in the background. David Pouget pulling over to the left-hand side, keeping an eye on his rearview mirror, just trying to get out of the way as best he can. Decides to take the chicane. I didn't know whether he was going to dive for an escape road just to get out of the way as best he can. But you can see the massive cars absolutely flying towards turn 10. Almost trying to make the most of all of that aerodynamic assistance that they can get. Alex Albuy in the background, so we may see David Pouget waiting for his teammate Alexandre Albuy. Getting further improvements, Alejandro Schimpf with the overall fastest Sector 1 with a 39.655. So a very quick Sector 1. Let a little bit go in Sector 2, over a second slower than what we've seen him do so far. There is the number 35 machine, that being Thomas Compa for Milan competition, as well as the number 65 Fabio Julia for LR Performance, one of the Racers Cup entrants. He's just working his way through turns 12 and then into 13. There is Florian Cohuble. The two teammates have swapped around. How are we looking in terms of sector times? A long way down from what you'd expect, so I can't imagine it would be an improvement this time by. Alejandro Schimpf does improve up into provisional P6, a 2 minute 29.050. That puts him 3rd at the moment in the Challengers Cup. But David Pouget still on provisional pole position with a 2:28.579. Florian Cohuble has got even closer. He is now on provisional pole in the Challengers Cup, 2nd overall, 67 thousandths away from David Pouget, a 2 minute 28.646 for him. There is Florian, still following the number 99, that being his teammate at GM Sport, Guillaume Meyer, working their way through the final corner. And then the run towards the line, 3 minutes remaining on the clock. These drivers that are crossing the line now will get 2 more laps completed, the one they're going on to and one further. Do we see an improvement from Florian as he crosses the line this time? The number 2 machine, no improvement, a 2:32.478, so a lot more time to find for Florian. Car number 44 has had a lap time deleted because of track limits at turn 3, so car 44, that being Venice Schunker for T2CM, one of the Racers Cup entrants. There is David Pouget, and he is just working his way onto the back straight. He does have Alexandre Albuy, his teammate, just sat behind, so now we're seeing the drivers work together. Alexandre Albuy is down in 8th place at the moment on a 2:29.062. He's got around about half a second to find if he wants to get on the front row. In the background you can see the number 31 of Jeremy Bourdagaray, one of the Milan competition cars, teammates of championship hopeful Nicolas Milin. He's looking to win his 9th title in the Clio Cup Series. David Pouget looking to win his 1st. And car 44, this time with a lap time deleted because of track limits at turn 1. That is Venice Schunker once again. 118 is also having track limits penalties applied. Francesco Pagano, we saw a moment for him earlier on in the session. He's been pushing hard, so he will have a lap time deleted. Both David Pouget and Alexandre Albuy slightly wide on the exit of turn 10. They are being followed around by the number 91 of Luca Franca. At the moment, Luca is sat in provisional P4, and he's getting the most out of all of this. Diving out of the way is David Pouget. He's given them all the aerodynamic assistance he can. Slightly wide at turn 12 is Alexandra Albuy. Aurelia Rene has dropped down the order a little bit. Incident involving car 125 and 116 will be investigated after the session. So that will be an incident between our race 1 winner yesterday, Jerzy Spinkovic, and the 115 of Stephanie Nevers. So that will be attended to accordingly after the session. Do we see an improvement from either Alexandra Albuy or Luca Franca as they come towards the line? Jerzy Spinkovic on provisional pole position now for the moment, a 2:28.463. However, Jerzy Spinkovic has been demoted down to second as Luca Franca is now on provisional pole with a 2:28.271. So David Pouget, after helping Alexandra Albuy, he helped him up to 4th place with a 2:28.625. However, the man at the tail of that little trio that we were watching, Luca Franca, has had them both with a 2:28.271. Very quick lap from Luca Franca. So Luca Franca on provisional pole. Jerzy Spinkovic has moved his way up into 2nd place. David Pouget, who was on provisional pole position for a long, long time and trying to help his teammate, Alex Albuy, is down to 3rd. Alex Albuy himself is in 4th. Florian Cohuble is down in 5th place. Adrian Schimpf in 6th. And Nicolas Meillat has been dropped down right the way to 7th place. He's got a bit of work to do. The checkered flag is out. This is the last lap. The drivers will have an opportunity to improve upon their lap times. Let's see who's coming towards the line and who we've got positions changing. Mattia Lancelotti is now up into provisional P11. Guillaume Meo has dropped down. Giacomo Trebi and Florian Venturi have gone up a place to 13th and 14th respectively. Jaume Bordagai is down into 15th. Sandro Cottini is up a place into 17th. 21st and 22nd have swapped around, one of those being Adam Sasha. So Adam Sasha up into 21st. Currently got a notice on the screen, so I can't see who is in 22nd at the moment. Going down the back straight again, you can see drivers doing what they can to improve. Fabio Julia has dropped down to 22nd place. Towards the camera comes the 115 machine, that being Stephanie Nevers. An incident between herself and the 125 of Jerzy Spinkovic being investigated after the session. There is provisional pole sitter Luca Franca working his way through turn 10 in towards turn 11 now. A long right-hander is turn 11. Grab the first apex, wash the car out wide before cutting back down inside to run over all of the curbing on the 2nd apex. Adrian Schimpf on provisional pole position as he takes the checkered flag, a 2:28.140, 1/10 clear, 1 and a bit tenths clear of Luca Franca. So Luca now has the pressure on. We won't see any improvements from Jerzy Spinkovic as he has taken the checkered flag. Nicolas Meillat taken the checkered flag. He crossed the line in 7th. He's now up to 4th with a 2:28.565. So he's had a good improvement as well of what is David Pouget and Alex Albuy. We may see improvements from them. David Pouget, provisional pole position, a 2:27.854. So a very last-minute improvement from David promotes him onto provisional pole position. Alexandra Albuy does not improve, unfortunately, and will remain in 6th place. But what a late improvement there is Adrian Schimpf in the 113 machine. He was looking so good for a provisional pole. Fortunately, David Pouget just got there on the final lap of the session, so a 2:27.854 from David Pouget. Adrian Schimpf, who will be starting alongside on the front row of the grid and on pole position in the Challengers Cup with a 2:28.140. Luca Franca, pole position in the Racers Cup, is starting in 3rd, 2:28.271. So it's worked out quite well, actually. So the top 3 are either not in a cup, or they are a Challengers Cup driver in the way of Adrian Schimpf, or a Racers Cup driver in the way of Luca Franca. They are all registered for Clio Cup Europe. However, David Pouget, Clio Cup France, Adrian Schimpf, Clio Cup España, and Luca Franca, Clio Cup Italia. So the top 3 have all got pole position in their respective categories, have all got pole position in their respective classes and in their nationalities as well. So David Pouget, what a way to bounce back after what was quite a rough and tumble race yesterday. So 2 pole positions for David Pouget, 3rd place in yesterday's race, and he will now start race 2 today in the daylight, this time from the front row of the grid. Once again on pole position, Adrian Schimpf, what a session from him. His brother, his twin, Alejandro Schimpf, down in 8th place at the moment on a 2:29.050, almost a second away from what his brother can do. But David Pouget, what a way to do it. He is having a dream weekend here at Paul Ricard, and he will look to follow up 2 pole positions and a podium yesterday with potentially a walk to the top step of the podium in race 2 this afternoon. I'm sure he's over the moon with that, David. I think he was rather tense yesterday after what was potentially going to come of any sort of stewards' inquiries. To the best of my knowledge, looking at the results that we currently have posted here, that were posted at 10 to 11 yesterday night, David Pouget was still classified in third place, the number 15 machine. So David Pouget third place yesterday in race 1. Of course, race 2 getting underway later on this afternoon. I will get the confirmed time for you. But this weekend here at Le Castellet couldn't have gone any better for David Pouget. So the start of the race is scheduled to be around about 33 minutes past 2 local time. So if you are watching in the UK, that will be 33 minutes past 1. And I'm guessing we will be going live at around about 10 minutes before that, around about 20 past 2 local time, 20 past 1 if you are in the UK. I'm guessing we'll be going live and getting ready as the grid sequence will commence. So David and the rest of the field work their way in towards the pit lane. And I'm sure the team will have been telling him on the radio he has got pole position, but until you see it on black and white, you don't really believe it. But what a way to open up the day's proceedings here at Le Castellet. Paul Ricard for David Pouget. And I'm sure we will have the results through to us as to how they completed their qualifying session. So David Pouget, pole position with a 2 minute 27.854. Adrian Schimpf lines up in second. Luca Franca third. Jerzy Spinkovic in fourth. Nicolas Millat, Alex Alboui, Florian Koeble and Alejandro Schimpf are the top 8 finishers of that qualifying session. 43 cars here this weekend. Hopefully we see all 43 out in race 2 later on this afternoon. Aurelia René, Alex Lancelotti and Stefan Polderman, Giacomo Trebi, Guillaume Meo, Matteo Lancelotti and Giuseppe Jacopo Jimenez, followed by Florian Venturi, who has improved from his pace yesterday up a little bit more. Jeremy Bodagaray, followed by Sandro Cottini, Francesco Pagano, followed by Quinto Stefana, Thomas Compa, René Stiemetz, Adam Sasha and Fabio Giulia. In 24th, Leonardo Arduini, followed by Matteo Polini, Alessandro Alcini, Lino Viguer, Gian Alberto Coldani, Manuel Stefani, Alejandro Romero and Vinny Schunke. And the rest of the field is just rolling through now. Due right the way down in 36th place. He qualified 31st yesterday, so 5 places away from what he knows he can do as well. But that is qualifying 2 of this weekend. That will set the grid for race 2 later on this afternoon. And we will see how the race plays out later on this afternoon here. A few of the highlights. But my name is Jack Worrell. Running through the qualifying later on this afternoon. Race 2 of the weekend underway for the Clio Cup Series. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.